Have you ever wondered why only a tiny fraction of people reach the top? Why only 1% become billionaires, world champions, industry leaders, or life changers? It's not because they were born lucky. It's not because they came from wealthy families. It's not even because they're the smartest people in the room. It's because they think differently. They live by different rules. They operate from a completely different mental framework that most people never discover. Today, I'm going to share with you the 9 powerful rules of the 1% mindset. These aren't just motivational quotes or feel-good advice. These are the actual mental operating systems that separate champions from everyone else. The people who master these rules don't just succeed, they dominate. But I need to warn you about something. This isn't going to be comfortable. These rules will challenge everything you've been taught about success. They'll force you to look at yourself honestly and admit where you've been thinking like the 99% instead of the 1%. If you're ready to transform how you think, how you act, and ultimately how you live, then stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why most people stay average their entire lives. And more importantly, how you can join the elite 1% who create extraordinary results. Let's begin. Rule 1. Turn discomfort into your superpower. The first rule that separates the 1% from everyone else is this: they have a completely different relationship with discomfort. While 99% of people run away from pain, stress, and difficulty like their lives depend on it, the 1% run toward it. Most people organize their entire lives around avoiding discomfort. They choose the easier job, the safer path, the more comfortable option. They hit the snooze button because getting up early is uncomfortable. They avoid difficult conversations because conflict feels bad. They stay in mediocre situations because change is scary. But here's what the 1% understand that everyone else doesn't. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. They are mutually exclusive. Every single breakthrough in human history happened because someone was willing to be uncomfortable. Think about it. Every new skill you've ever learned required you to be bad at it first. Every goal you've achieved required you to do things that felt hard. Every relationship you've built required you to be vulnerable and risk rejection. The 1% don't just accept this reality, they embrace it. They've learned to see discomfort as a signal that they're growing, not a signal to stop. Let me tell you about Jennifer. 3 years ago, she weighed 120 kilograms. She was pre-diabetic, exhausted all the time, and couldn't climb a flight of stairs without getting out of breath. Most people in her situation would have felt hopeless, but Jennifer made a decision that changed everything. She decided to embrace the discomfort of change instead of accepting the discomfort of staying the same. Every morning at 5 a.m., she put on her running shoes and went outside. It didn't matter if it was raining, snowing, or blazing hot. The first week was torture. She could barely run for 30 seconds without stopping. Her lungs burned, her legs ached, everything hurt. Most people would have quit, but Jennifer understood something powerful. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. Month after month, she showed up. In the rain, she ran. In the snow, she ran. When she didn't feel like it, she ran anyway. She embraced every uncomfortable moment as a step toward the person she was becoming. Today, Jennifer is a marathon runner. She's completed 12 marathons and qualified for Boston. Her body fat percentage went from 45% to 18%. But more importantly, she transformed her relationship with discomfort forever. The person who can sit with discomfort, who can stay calm in chaos, who can think clearly under pressure, that person has a massive advantage in every area of life. So, here's your first challenge. Stop running away from discomfort and start running toward it. Take the cold shower, have the difficult conversation. Start the workout when you don't feel like it. Apply for the job you think you're not qualified for. Because comfort is the enemy of greatness, and if you want to join the 1%, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Rule 2. Patience pays the highest dividends. The second rule of the 1% mindset is understanding the power of the long game. In our instant gratification world, everyone wants everything fast. Fast food, fast internet, fast results. People want to lose weight in 1 week, become rich in 1 month, and master new skills in 1 day. But the 1% play by different rules. They understand that real success never comes fast. It comes from consistent effort over a long period of time. When you study the most successful people in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, they all have one thing in common. They worked for years before anyone noticed. They didn't give up after a few weeks of not seeing results. They kept going day after day, month after month, year after year. Let me share with you the story of the Vietnamese bamboo tree. It's one of the most powerful examples of long-term thinking in nature. When you plant a Vietnamese bamboo tree, nothing happens for the first year. You water it, give it sunlight, take care of the soil, but there's no visible growth, not even a small leaf. The second year comes, still nothing. You keep watering it, you stay patient, but there's no sign of progress. The third year arrives, nothing again. Most people would give up by now. They'd think the tree is dead. But those who understand the power of time keep going. They continue watering it through the 4th year, still seeing no visible results. Then comes the 5th year, still nothing above ground. But in the 6th year, something miraculous happens. In just 6 weeks, the bamboo tree grows 80 feet tall. That's right, it grows faster than anyone could believe. But here's the truth. It didn't grow 80 feet in 6 weeks. It grew 80 feet in 6 years. All those years when nothing was visible, it was growing underground, building massive root systems. Without those deep, strong roots, it could never survive such rapid growth. This is exactly how success works in the real world. You don't see the results at first. You may feel like nothing is happening. But if you're doing the right things consistently, you are building roots. You are building strength. And if you stay patient, one day everything will rise faster than you ever expected. The problem is that 99% of people quit during the underground phase. They work hard for a month, and when they don't see dramatic results, they say, "This doesn't work," and give up. But the 1% understand something powerful. The magic happens in the compound phase, not the linear phase. Let's say you're learning a new skill, like playing guitar. In the beginning, your fingers hurt, you can't play simple chords, and you sound terrible. You might practice for 3 months and still feel like a beginner. But if you stick with it, if you keep showing up even when you don't feel like you're improving, something amazing happens around month 6 or 7. Suddenly, everything clicks. Your muscle memory kicks in. You start playing songs that seemed impossible just weeks before. The same principle applies to building a business, getting in shape, mastering a language, or developing any valuable skill. The 1% don't just work harder, they work longer. They stick with it through the inevitable plateaus and setbacks. They play the long game while everyone else quits too soon. So ask yourself, are you chasing fast results or are you committed to the long game? Because if you want to create something truly extraordinary, you need to think in years, not months. You're not planting for today, you're planting for tomorrow. Water your dreams every day, be patient, and keep going. Because when success finally comes, it will come bigger and faster than you ever imagined. Rule 3. Your choices, your consequences, your power. The third rule that separates the 1% from everyone else is radical personal responsibility. Most people are professional excuse makers. When things go wrong, they immediately look for someone or something to blame. It's the economy. It's the government. It's their boss. It's their parents. It's the system. It's society. It's always someone else's fault. But the 1% think completely differently. They say something that most people never say. I am responsible for everything in my life. This doesn't mean they're perfect. This doesn't mean they never face challenges. But it means they take complete ownership of their responses, their decisions, and their results. Here's why this is so powerful. When you blame others, you give away your power. You become a victim of circumstances. You wait for the world to change. You sit there complaining, and nothing gets better. But when you take responsibility, everything changes. You stop waiting and start acting. You become the driver of your own life instead of a passenger in someone else's car. Let me tell you about Jenny. She was born blind. Most people would see this as an insurmountable obstacle, a legitimate reason to have limited expectations for their life. But Jenny refused to let her circumstances define her possibilities. Instead of focusing on what she couldn't do, she focused on what she could do. Instead of feeling sorry for herself, she got to work. She learned Braille not just to read, but to master it completely. She developed her other senses to compensate for her lack of sight. But Jenny didn't stop there. She decided she wanted to become a lawyer. People told her it was impossible. Law school is incredibly visual, reading thousands of pages, studying complex cases, taking detailed notes. But Jenny didn't listen to the doubters. She found a way. She used special software that converted text to speech. She recorded her lectures and listened to them multiple times. She developed her own system for taking notes and studying. It took her longer than other students. She had to work twice as hard, but she never complained and she never gave up. Today, Jenny is not just a lawyer. She's a successful advocate for people with disabilities. She's argued cases in federal court. She's changed laws that help millions of people. She turned what most people would see as a disadvantage into her greatest source of strength and purpose. The difference between Jenny and most people isn't her circumstances. It's her response to her circumstances. Here's what the 1% understand. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond to everything that happens to you. And your response is what determines your results. Two people can lose their jobs in the same economic downturn. One person blames the economy, feels sorry for themselves, and waits for someone to rescue them. The other person asks, what can I learn from this? How can I use this setback to create something better? Same situation, different response, completely different outcome. This is the power of radical responsibility. It's not about being hard on yourself or feeling guilty about things outside your control. It's about recognizing that you always have choices and your choices always have consequences. When you truly embrace this mindset, you stop being a victim and start being a creator. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You stop waiting for permission and start taking action. So right now, I want you to ask yourself, what am I blaming others for in my life? What excuses am I making? What would happen if I took complete responsibility for changing my situation? Because until you own everything in your life, the good and the bad, you can't change anything in your life. Rule 4. Win the morning, win the day. The fourth rule of the 1% mindset is mastering your morning routine. How you start your day determines how you live your day. If you begin with intention, energy, and focus, your entire day flows in that direction. But if you start feeling rushed, distracted, and reactive, your day will reflect that chaos. The 1% understand that mornings are sacred time. While 99% of people hit the snooze button, check their phones immediately, and start their day by reacting to other people's priorities, the 1% use their mornings to create their world. Think about this. Your morning is often the only time when you're not being pulled in multiple directions. There are no meetings, no phone calls, no external demands. That's why mornings are the perfect time to build powerful habits and set the tone for success. Most people wake up and immediately grab their phone. Before they're even fully conscious, they're scrolling through social media, checking emails, reading news. They fill their brain with other people's thoughts, other people's problems, other people's drama. Then they wonder why they feel anxious and scattered all day. The 1% do the opposite. They protect their morning like it's the most valuable real estate in the world, because it is. Here's a simple but powerful morning routine that can transform your life. First, wake up 30 minutes earlier than usual. Don't touch your phone. Instead, sit in silence for 5 minutes. Breathe deeply, clear your mind. This isn't complicated meditation, it's just giving your brain a chance to wake up without external input. Next, take out a notebook and write down your top 3 goals for the day, not a massive to-do list, just 3 things that will move you forward. This creates clarity and intention for everything that follows. Then, read 1 page of a powerful book, something that inspires you, teaches you, or challenges your thinking. Even 1 page a day becomes 365 pages in a year. That's multiple books of wisdom feeding your mind. Finally, move your body. You don't need a gym membership or expensive equipment. Do 20 push-over. Take a walk around the block. Stretch for 10 minutes. Movement awakens your body and gives you energy for the day ahead. These 4 simple activities, silence, planning, reading, movement, can completely transform how you feel and perform every single day. But here's the secret. Consistency matters more than perfection. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to do something intentionally every morning. I know what you're thinking. I don't have time for this, but you do. You have time for whatever you prioritize. If you can find time to scroll social media for 30 minutes, you can find time to invest 30 minutes in yourself. The 1% also understand that winning the morning starts the night before. If you want to wake up early, you need to go to bed early. If you want to feel energized, you need to respect your sleep. Your evening routine creates your morning routine. When you master your morning, you're not just organizing your schedule, you're building self-leadership. You're proving to yourself that you can keep commitments to yourself. You're starting each day with a win instead of a loss. And here's what's amazing. When you consistently win your mornings, you start winning your days. When you win your days, you start winning your weeks. When you win your weeks, you start winning your life. So, tomorrow morning, don't hit snooze. Don't grab your phone. Instead, grab control of your day from the very first moment. Create a morning routine that sets you up for success. Because how you do anything is how you do everything, and it all starts with how you start your day. Rule 5. Every no brings you closer to yes. The fifth rule of the 1% mindset is learning the power of strategic no. Most people are terrible at protecting their time and energy. They say yes to everything, every invitation, every request, every distraction. They think this makes them helpful or popular, but it actually makes them weak and unfocused. The 1% understand something that most people never learn. You cannot grow if you say yes to everything. Focus requires saying no to most things so you can say yes to the right things. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, says, "The difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything." Think about this principle. Every time you say yes to one thing, you're automatically saying no to something else. If you say yes to watching TV for 2 hours, you're saying no to reading, exercising, or working on your goals. If you say yes to staying up late at a party, you're saying no to waking up early and being productive the next day. Time is the only resource you can never get back. Energy is limited. Focus is finite. The 1% protect these resources like they're made of gold. Let me tell you about Jack. 2 years ago, Jack was like most people his age, spending hours every day playing video games. He was good at them, he enjoyed them, and all his friends played too. But Jack had a bigger dream. He wanted to become a UX/UI designer. The problem was, gaming was taking up 4 to 5 hours of his day. After work, after dinner, after basic responsibilities, he would game until late at night. Then he'd wonder why he wasn't making progress toward his design goals. One day, Jack made a hard decision. He deleted all his games. He left the gaming groups he was part of. He even sold his gaming setup. His friends thought he was crazy. But Jack understood something powerful. Every hour he spent gaming was an hour he wasn't spending learning design. Every night he stayed up, gaming was a night he couldn't wake up early to work on his portfolio. Instead of gaming, Jack used those 4 to 5 hours to learn UX/UI design. He took online courses. He practiced with design software. He built mock projects. He studied successful designers and analyzed their work. At first, it was hard. He missed the instant gratification of gaming. He felt lonely without his gaming friends, but slowly something changed. He started enjoying design more than he had ever enjoyed gaming. He was creating instead of just consuming. After 18 months of focused effort, Jack had built an impressive portfolio. He applied for design positions and landed a job at a tech startup. Today, he's a senior UX designer making 3 times what he made at his old job. But it all started with one decision, saying no to what was easy so he could say yes to what mattered. Saying no isn't easy at first. You might feel guilty. You might feel left out. People might not understand your choices. But you're not living for their approval. You're living for your future. Here's how to start saying no strategically. First, get clear on your priorities. What are the 3 most important things you want to achieve this year? Write them down. Everything else is secondary. Second, before you say yes to anything, ask yourself, does this help me achieve my top 3 priorities? If the answer is no, then your answer should be no. Third, learn to say no politely but firmly. You don't need to explain your entire life strategy. A simple, "I have other commitments right now," is enough. Remember, saying no to the wrong things gives you the power to say yes to the right things. Every no today creates space for a bigger yes tomorrow. The 1% protect their time and energy fiercely because they know that focus is their secret weapon. When you learn to say no to distractions, you gain the power to say yes to your dreams. Rule 6. Feed your mind like your life depends on it. The 6th rule that separates the 1% from everyone else is their commitment to continuous learning. There's one habit that distinguishes the excellent from the average, the leaders from the followers, and the wealthy from the poor. Learning something new every single day. Your mind is your most powerful tool. Like any tool, it gets stronger with use and weaker with neglect. The 1% treat their minds like professional athletes treat their bodies. They train them consistently, feed them properly, and push them to grow. Most people stop learning the day they graduate from school. They think education is something you do for a few years, not something you do for life. But the 1% understand that in today's rapidly changing world, if you're not learning, you're dying. The amazing thing is that learning has never been easier or more accessible. You don't need to go to an expensive university. You don't need to take years off work. You can learn anything you want, anytime you want, from anywhere in the world. YouTube has free lessons on every topic imaginable. Podcasts let you learn from experts while you commute or exercise. Libraries are filled with knowledge, and they're completely free. Online courses from top universities are available for almost nothing. But here's the challenge. Most people don't use these incredible resources. Instead, they spend their free time scrolling social media, watching mindless entertainment, or gossiping about other people's lives. Then they wonder why nothing in their life is improving. Let me tell you about Maria. 2 years ago, she was working as a barista at a small coffee shop. She made minimum wage, had no benefits, and saw no clear path to advancement. Most people in her situation would have felt stuck. But Maria made a decision that changed everything. She decided to learn something new every single day during her work breaks. Instead of scrolling through Instagram during her 15-minute breaks, Maria started listening to marketing podcasts. Instead of chatting with coworkers during lunch, she watched YouTube videos about business and entrepreneurship. Instead of watching TV when she got home, she read books about customer service and brand building. She learned about social media marketing, customer psychology, brand storytelling, and business operations. She wasn't just learning randomly, she was learning with a purpose. After 6 months of consistent learning, Maria approached her manager with an idea. She wanted to create an Instagram account for the coffee shop to attract more customers. Her manager was skeptical but agreed to let her try. Maria applied everything she had learned. She created engaging content, built relationships with local influencers, and turned their coffee shop into a community gathering place. Within 3 months, their revenue increased by 40%. But Maria didn't stop there. She kept learning, kept improving, kept innovating. She learned about business licensing, supply chain management, and franchise operations. Today, just 2 years later, Maria owns a chain of 15 coffee shops across 3 cities. She went from making minimum wage to making millions, not because she was lucky, but because she was committed to learning. You might be thinking, but I don't have time to learn. Here's the truth. You don't need more time. You need better use of your time. Instead of 30 minutes on social media, spend 15 minutes learning something new. Instead of watching random YouTube videos, watch educational content. Turn your commute into a classroom by listening to podcasts or audiobooks. Even 10 minutes of learning per day adds up to over 60 hours per year. That's enough to master a new skill, understand a new industry, or completely transform your perspective on life. The 1% never stop learning because they understand that knowledge compounds. What you learn today becomes the foundation for what you can achieve tomorrow. Every book you read, every course you take, every conversation you have with someone smarter than you, it all builds up over time. Your income can only grow to the extent that you do. Your opportunities can only expand as fast as your knowledge expands. Your value in the marketplace is directly connected to your commitment to learning. So ask yourself, what did I learn today? If the answer is nothing, don't waste another minute. Start learning right now. Read 1 page. Watch 1 educational video. Listen to 1 podcast episode. Because at the end of the day, your life rises or falls based on how much you're willing to grow, and the people who grow every day, they become the 1%. Rule 7. Show up when feelings say give up. The 7th rule of the 1% mindset is building discipline, not relying on motivation. Motivation is exciting. It feels good. It gives you energy and makes you feel like you can conquer the world. But here's the problem. Motivation doesn't last. One day you feel inspired and ready to change your life. The next day you feel tired, bored, or lazy. If you only take action when you feel motivated, you won't get very far. 1% understand this completely. They don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They rely on something much more powerful than motivation: discipline. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation disappears. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. You're tired, you still show up. You're busy, you still do the work. You're frustrated, you still take action. Most people think discipline is about being hard on yourself or forcing yourself to do things you hate. But that's not what discipline really is. Discipline is freedom. Discipline is power. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your achievements. Let me tell you about Mike. He wanted to get in shape and transform his body. Like most people, he started with huge motivation. He bought workout clothes, joined a gym, planned his meals, and created a detailed schedule. For the first 2 weeks, everything was perfect. He woke up early, hit the gym, ate healthy foods, and felt amazing. He was motivated and excited about his progress. But then something happened that happens to everyone. The motivation started to fade. Week 3 arrived, and Mike had a long day at work. He was tired and stressed. The gym felt like the last place he wanted to be. Week 4 brought bad weather and a busy social schedule. Week 5 brought muscle soreness and frustration with his slow progress. This is where 99% of people quit. They say, "I'll start again on Monday," or "I'll get back to it next month." But Monday never comes, and next month becomes next year. But Mike was different. He had learned something powerful. He couldn't trust his feelings to determine his actions. Feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. So Mike made a promise to himself, I will show up even when I don't feel like it. He went to the gym on days when he was tired. He ate healthy meals when he craved junk food. He stuck to his routine when his friends wanted him to skip it for social events. He didn't wait to feel motivated. He took action first, and the motivation followed. 6 months later, Mike had transformed his body and his life. He lost 30 pounds, gained muscle, and felt more confident than ever. But more importantly, he had built something invaluable, unshakable discipline. Here's the truth about discipline. It's hard at the beginning, but it gives you freedom later. Motivation is fun at the beginning, but it leaves you stuck if you depend on it. Discipline creates habits, and habits shape your future. When you build the discipline to work out consistently, eating healthy becomes easier too. When you build the discipline to wake up early, you create time for everything else that matters. Think of discipline like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it feels heavy and difficult, but after a while, it becomes natural. Waking up early stops being hard. Studying becomes part of your routine. Exercising feels normal. Here's how to build discipline starting today. First, make one small promise to yourself every day, something simple and clear, like, I will read for 15 minutes, or I will not check my phone for the first hour after waking up. Then, keep that promise no matter what. Second, don't try to change everything at once. Pick one area of your life and build discipline there first. Once that becomes automatic, add something else. Third, remember that discipline isn't about perfection. You will have bad days. You will fail sometimes. That's normal. Discipline means getting back up and continuing, not never falling down. The next time you don't feel like doing something important, don't ask, do I feel motivated? Instead, ask, what would a disciplined person do? Then do that. Because discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. And that's why the 1% mindset is built on discipline, not motivation. Rule 8. Environment shapes everything you become. The 8th rule of the 1% mindset is understanding the power of environment. There's a truth that most people don't want to hear. You become like the people you spend the most time with. Your environment has more influence on your life than your willpower, your motivation, or even your goals. If you surround yourself with lazy, negative, small-thinking people, you will slowly become like them, even if you don't want to. But if you surround yourself with ambitious, positive, growth-minded people, you will naturally rise to their level. The 1% pay very close attention to their environment because they understand that it's either supporting their growth or sabotaging it. Think about your current circle, the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they inspiring you to be better, or are they pulling you down to their level? Are they talking about goals and possibilities, or are they complaining and making excuses? Your environment includes more than just people. It's also the content you consume, the books you read, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the places you spend time. All of this is programming your mind every single day. Most people underestimate how much their environment affects them. They think they're strong enough to resist negative influences. But research shows that everything from emotions to habits to beliefs spreads through social networks like viruses. If everyone around you is complaining about their jobs, you'll start complaining about yours too. If everyone around you is making excuses for why they can't succeed, you'll start making excuses too. If everyone around you is wasting time on meaningless activities, you'll waste time too. But the reverse is also true. If your environment is filled with people who are learning, growing, building, and achieving, you'll be inspired to do the same. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your future is walk away from people who are holding you back. This isn't about being mean or superior. It's about protecting your dreams and your potential. It may feel lonely at first, but that space gives you a chance to attract better relationships. When people see your discipline, your focus, and your growth, the right people will find you. Here's the good news. You don't have to wait to find great people in your physical environment. You can start building a powerful environment right now through the content you consume. Follow successful people on social media instead of people who just complain. Listen to podcasts hosted by experts instead of just entertainment. Read books by people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Watch videos that educate and inspire you instead of just mindless entertainment. Let their voices become your new environment. Let their energy become your motivation. Let their lessons guide your actions. You can literally reprogram your mind by changing what you feed it every day. Instead of filling your brain with negativity, drama, and limitations, fill it with possibility, wisdom, and growth. The 1% are extremely selective about what they allow into their mental space. They treat their mind like a garden, and they're very careful about what seeds they plant there. Ask yourself right now, is my environment pushing me toward my goals or away from them? Are the people around me inspiring me to be better or accepting my excuses to stay the same? If the answer is uncomfortable, it's time to make some changes. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you can start today. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Stop having conversations that drain your energy. Start following people who inspire you. Start consuming content that teaches you something valuable. Remember, your environment is more powerful than your willpower. If you want to change your life, start by changing what surrounds you every day. Because when your environment supports your growth, success becomes inevitable. Rule 9. Rise stronger from every breakdown. The 9th and final rule of the 1% mindset is never letting failure define you. Everyone wants success. Everyone dreams of winning. But the path to success is never a straight line. It's full of setbacks, rejections, mistakes, and moments of doubt. The difference between those who eventually reach the top and those who stay average is simple. The 1% don't let failure stop them. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's an ingredient of success. Every person you admire has failed more times than you've probably even tried. The difference is, they kept going when others quit. Let me tell you about Ron, a young entrepreneur with big dreams. When he was 25, he started his first business. He was excited, full of ideas, and confident he would succeed quickly. But within 8 months, the business failed. He lost his savings, his confidence, and his belief in himself. Most people would have gone back to the safety of a regular job. But Ron had learned something important. Failure is only permanent if you quit. So he started again. This time, he planned more carefully, worked harder, and learned from his mistakes. But after a year and a half, this business failed too. Ron was devastated. He was embarrassed. He was broke. Again, most people would have given up. They would have said, maybe I'm not cut out for this, or maybe I should just get a normal job. But Ron kept going. He started a third business. This one lasted longer and showed more promise, but ultimately it failed as well. 3 failures, 3 years of struggle. Most people would see this as proof that they should quit, but Ron saw it differently. He said to himself, failure is not who I am. It's just part of the process. Each failure is teaching me something I need to know for my eventual success. So he started a 4th business. This time, he applied everything he had learned from his 3 previous failures. He understood his market better. He knew how to manage cash flow. He had learned how to build the right team. This 4th business succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. Today, Ron's company employs over 200 people and generates millions in revenue every year. He's respected in his industry and financially free. But none of that would have happened if he had let his failures define him. Here's what the 1% understand about failure. It's only failure if you stop. If you keep going, it becomes education. Every failure teaches you something success never could. Success feels good, but it often hides your weaknesses. Failure shows you exactly where you need to improve. It makes you humble, hungry, and real. Some of the most successful people in history failed many times before they succeeded. Stephen King's first novel was rejected 30 times before it was published. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television news. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. These people didn't succeed despite their failures. They succeeded because of what their failures taught them. The 1% have a different relationship with failure. They don't fear it. They expect it. They don't avoid it. They learn from it. They don't let it define them. They let it refine them. When you change how you think about failure, you change what's possible in your life. Instead of seeing failure as the end, you start seeing it as information. Instead of seeing setbacks as permanent, you see them as temporary. Instead of seeing rejection as personal, you see it as redirection. Here's how to build an unshakable relationship with failure. First, redefine what failure means. Failure isn't falling down. Failure is staying down. Failure isn't making mistakes. Failure is not learning from your mistakes. Second, see every setback as data. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I use this information to do better next time? Third, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Remember, you are not your mistakes. You are not your past failures. You are not your temporary setbacks. You are your response to these challenges, and if your response is to keep moving forward, then you're already winning. Thanks for watching. Keep pushing forward. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today.